Imagine a world where forecast fear is replaced by fierce confidence. A world where women are free to roam the day without the fear or possibility of scattered showers. Little confused? Don't worry, I'm going to break it down for you in 1 second. Hello, everyone. This is Jabari Young, senior writer and editor here at Forbes. And in a minute, I'll be talking to Tracey Pickett. She is the CEO of Hairbrella. It's a rainwear company. And it is for the final installment of our journey to ForbesBLK Summit. It's the annual event we're holding in Atlanta on November 6th. First year is this year. We definitely want to see you there. And Tracey Pickett will be there as well. But for right now, we're going to bring in Tracey Pickett to talk to her about her business as we wrap up the journey to ForbesBLK Summit. Tracey Pickett, CEO of Hairbrella, right now. And so, Tracey, before we jumped on the call, I was teasing how your product doesn't help me much. I don't have any hair. And I know you said you're coming out with some men products, but thank you so much for the time and hopping on again as part of our journey to ForbesBLK Summit. And looking forward to being in Atlanta. You'll be there, so I'm excited to meet you there. But, let's start off first. This makes a great Christmas gift, right? Hairbrella makes a great Christmas gift, I'm thinking, right? Mark Cuban always says, if you learn to sell, you could do anything in life. So I want you to sell me on Hairbrella. I know I got the line, the Christmas gifts all for my aunts and everything. Sell me on it.
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to be here. Super excited to talk to you. And absolutely, I mean, if you want to give the best gift to your mom, your sister, your partner, whoever it is, Hairbrella is that.
Yes.
We create the most innovative and elevated head coverings from day to night, so you can truly keep your loved ones covered all year long. And it also is something that we did really to elevate the experience of women. If you think about, the industry of head coverings, from your shower caps to your rain bonnets, right? They were like throwaway little things that didn't go into, having a lot of, luxury or even just kind of being up to par. And so we believe women deserve the best. And so we're creating that so you can keep them covered from day to night.
Yeah. And listen, as donor, your hair looks phenomenal right now, right?
Well, thank you.
So, great conversation coming up. But listen, I look at the rainwear industry, right? It's valued at $1.3 billion and expected to eclipse about $2 billion by 2031. What do you see when you look around the rainwear industry, and how do more people of color and women get involved in this sector?
Yeah, so I believe the industry in terms of functional headwear, functional apparel is growing overall. And of course, the needs of people, especially when it comes to specific use cases and those of diverse audiences, aren't being met. Why? Because the creators, the designers, the innovators in that space haven't looked like us. And so I believe there's a huge opportunity to come into this space with the perspective of knowing what people actually want, what they need, what the needs of their hair are, what the needs of their kind of daily life are. I think there's such a huge opportunity to create more in that space and really to grow the category. That's something that we were able to do. If you look back historically at even like search terms for rain hats, if you look at the historical sales numbers for Amazon, they are much higher in this space. Why? Because women like me are buying products that we know will actually fit our needs that really just didn't exist in the past. So I do believe there's a huge opportunity to grow and take up space in that sector.
Absolutely. And plus, listen, rain isn't going anywhere, right? It's going to be here for the rest of our lives. And sometimes I've gotten caught in rain in New York just because I didn't have an umbrella. So and there's people that I know in my family who refuse to go outside. They refuse to go to certain climates if they just got their hair done and all the moisture coming in. So you're solving a great problem.
Say it again.
I said you're solving a great problem.
Yes, absolutely. And it really, when you start designing your life and your schedule around the rain, that's a real problem to solve for.
Yeah.
So I joke all the time, it's a hat, but what we're really selling is the ability to navigate your day without having to worry about your hair. And that really does change a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, let's dive in. So much to get into in such a short period of time. You developed an Emoji app, represented, companies and corporate law and all of that stuff. But again, you grew up in Atlanta. And instead of asking age, I'm going to ask you, who was the hip hop artist that was hot at the time when you were in your teens? Like, who was the one in Atlanta who was on fire?
Oh, man. Let's say Lil Jon.
Lil Jon was on fire at that time. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I came up, in fact, my high school, first of all, Outcasts.
Outcasts.
Number one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I went to school, same school as Outcasts, Jagged Edge, both of those artists. There were a few others that went to our school. So yeah.
Not at the same time though, right?
The hot time. Oh, no.
No, okay. I was just saying, you went to school with Andre 3000? What was that like? Was he rhyming in the halls?
I wish, right?
But coming from that background, I mean, listen, you coming from prominent high school like that, I mean, do you feel that that history there? Because, I mean, you mentioned some icons, and here you are trying to, replicate it in your own way.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, being from Atlanta, kind of just knowing that so much history has happened here. I actually went to elementary school right next to MLK's house.
Wow.
I went to elementary schools that were, John Lewis used to come and visit my principal every Friday and just peek into our classroom. So I was surrounded around so much history. And I tell people all the time, it's like, there's something to being in a city with so many prominent Black people that just kind of really kind of trains you to believe that anything is possible, right? When you're interfaced with that kind of greatness all the time, you kind of begin to feel like it's possible for yourself. Yeah.
I mean, listen, Atlanta has shown Forbes so much love over the years, and now again, getting ready for this the BLK Summit is really exciting. But then you go to Spellman College, and when you were in Spellman, did you know at that point that law was going to be the direction that you were going?
Absolutely. Yeah, I always wanted to do entertainment law. I did several internships. In fact, the first entertainment lawyer that I worked for had signed Akon. He then signed Plies, and then T-Pain. She signed T-Pain, Jazzy Faye. So I was really kind of always intent on pursuing the law, but really was interested in helping creative people. I'm a musician myself. And so I was like, yeah, I feel like this would marry the world, like my creative mind, and also believing that I could go and become a lawyer. So that was definitely the direction at the time. Yeah.
Now it couldn't have always been a lawyer, right? Because listen, I wanted to be a fireman when I was young, and that changed to a bus driver, and now here I am a journalist. So along the way, what are the two other fields you were looking into? Was it a lawyer? Was it a singer? What was it?
It was a veterinarian.
A veterinarian.
Until my dog had a litter of puppies that I was trying to nurse and did all I could. And when they started to pass away, I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't be depressed all the time. So vet was another one. And then a lot of people told me that I was supposed to be a minister. If my mom ever sees this, she's going to call me and say, I don't know what you're talking about, suppose. But so that was the other one. Both my parents are ministers. My dad's a pastor. My mom speaks all over the world. So they definitely wanted to see that for me. But I feel like in my own way, I am ministering to folks through my journey and hopefully inspiring them to kind of take those ideas that they might have and put them out in the world.
Absolutely, man. Listen, you can jump right into that. Great segue because your entrepreneurship journey. Again, we were talking about that earlier about the letter you wrote to yourself, and I quote, in researching, I would not be living my best life if I didn't go after that dream. And the dream you're talking about was being an entrepreneur, starting your own business, doing your own thing. And you wrote that letter to yourself that you would not abandon that dream. And your first entrepreneurial was that Emoji Company. Why did you want to develop a Emoji Company of all the things in the world, Emoji Company?
Man, I am a problem solver, and at the time we were really getting into more text messaging, right? In fact, at the time, it's like 80% of all communications were happening over a device, not a voice call or anything like that. And so I then realized that I was really trying to piece together a bunch of emojis to like express myself, and I can be pretty animated. And I'm like, wow, we didn't even have skin tones back then. So I was like, all right, this is a good experiment, and really started an experiment. Like, are my ideas good enough to kind of take off? And whether or not I could build something that wouldn't require me to leave my 9-to-5, and that would be kind of a fun creative outlet. So that ended up being the idea that a group of us came together on. They were like, Tracey, your idea works. We're going to work on that. We actually got to number 2 paid app in the entire app store at one point. So we did go viral, saw some success with that. And it was really the confidence I needed to feel like, hey, you have good ideas, and this entrepreneurial bug that you have, you should pursue it. Yeah.
And it's Ebicon. Is that how it's pronounced?
Eboticon.
Eboticon.
So like
Eboticon.
A play on Ebonics, ebony.
I was thinking was it ebony? Ebonic. I was like, okay. Oh, and do you still own that business now? I know there's a new CEO in place. Are you still a part of that investor in that business?
Yeah, I mean, we don't develop anymore. It
Okay.
still runs on the App Store, still gets downloaded all over the world, but is one that I had to kind of transition out of in terms of day-to-day management to focus fully on Hairbrella.
That's right, because in 2016, here you go, Hairbrella is launched, and you initially did that through Kickstarter, right? Everett Taylor, CEO over there now, great dude. What is that like, the crowdfunding way? Because it's still, I think, kind of new. People always look, they say, "Oh, we need capital," but here you are, this crowdfunding path that you can go down. And you did that, and it sounded like it was beneficial for you.
It was. And for me, I think some people do it really to raise money, of course, to get the business off the ground or to accelerate it. For me, it's a little bit of validation. It's kind of the same thing I did with the Bodycon, like will people pay for this? And can I get enough people to try it so they can give me feedback? And so my goal was only like 15,000 because I had 250 of the hats to sell. I put them out there. I was actually selling them at a loss. So this wasn't really money that was going to help me grow the business, but it was going to help me kind of get that initial validation. And then I went back into product development afterwards. I spent another 6 months getting that feedback, changing that design to really reflect the thoughts and the opinions that people had and to address that so it could really go to market kind of the best it could be with that feedback in mind.
Yeah. At that point, is that when at the Atlanta-based Collab Capital? I love the work they're doing down there. Always scanning their website to find new entrepreneurs doing some big things, and there you were. But they put that seed money in along with Kickstarter. At that time when you were developing and going back and forth, is that the time when Collab kind of came in?
No, Collab came in actually in 2020. So,
2020, okay.
2017 did more product dev. 2018 and 19, really, I raised $75K from angel investors. The purpose was to figure out our manufacturing. We had to reverse engineer this fabric that I had found in China to be able to produce it at scale. Kind of got my first marketing campaign off the ground in 2019. That's where we really started to see the traction. So while I was doing, we launched officially on the Kickstarter in 2016. I do feel like our journey really began in 2019 once I had all those pieces finally in place. And then, of course, Collab Capital came in 2020, right at an inflection point. And we had been talking, of course, leading up to that, and they've always been supportive. But that's when we got our first bit of VC capital.
What was that process like? Because I was talking to another sister, Adrienne Smith, and she owns her own card game and it has an NFL license. And I know she's had problems getting capital, right? I know she's been at it for a while, but here you are, you're going back and forth product development, and you're talking to these VCs, and I guess maybe people don't understand that that's a relationship, that you have to build that and they have to trust you before they just hand over money. But what is that process like? How do you navigate that, trying to find VC money after the crowdfunding kind of plays its course?
Well, first of all, one piece of advice I give people is like to do all that you can. People who fund businesses like to find you running and really like to pour gas on what it is that you've already created in terms of traction. And so I initially met Jewel Burks. She ended up coming on as an angel investor. She then started Collab Capital, and she was, of course, looking for businesses that were growing and that could leverage the capital. So that's the other piece of it, making sure that you are at a point where you understand kind of your KPIs, what are the economics looking like for you to be able to leverage capital and then grow, and then what kind of value does that create for the business, right? So I do believe that, big part is relationships, but the other thing is, have you done enough in the business? Have you, again, developed the KPIs? Do you understand your customer? Can you acquire new customers? What does the, profit line look like, from this year to the next 5? And then being able to relay that to investors. I believe that's best way to go, and in a way that you can secure VC funding.
Yeah. Now that we're in this business, let me ask you, and you're here now, and again, congratulations on all the success. Entrepreneurship is not easy, right? It takes a lot of work, a lot of persistence, rejection, right? I mean, you have to have the mental capacity to overcome the rejection, the negative feedback that you get, right? Getting that feedback and using it for the greater. Some people, they take it, they're offended. They'll cuss you out if you don't like their product, right? I mean, that's just true. But here you are, right? The CEO of a company. What is that like, being CEO? Because you go from lawyer, and then you're starting a bit, Emoji, and then obviously you see what you really want, and now Hairbrella is up, running, making profit. What is it like being CEO of this company?
Oh man, it is like the most amazing ride that I didn't know. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I did know I wanted to grow a business, but I didn't know how I would have to grow as a person in order to do so. I didn't understand all the things that I was going to have to learn. And so I do feel like being the CEO of Hairbrella it feels like a course in becoming a different person.
Yeah.
When I'm constantly trying to learn, I mean, I spend at least an hour a day listening to podcasts and books, even mindset books, needing to change my mindset so that I could attract the type of business that I want to run and all the resources that are going to have to come in order for me to do that. And then also it's really cool being able to interface with so many different types of people. I mean, our accounting team is out of Australia. A lot of our web team is in India. We have a lot of support staff in the Philippines. Our email team is out of Canada. And so I am also learning a lot about other people, other cultures, learning a lot about finance that I never thought I would have to have to learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's a constant development process. It's never a dull moment whatsoever. There are lots and lots of highs and lows. I mean, when people would say, "Oh my God, being an entrepreneur is like being on a roller coaster," that is not an exaggeration. There are days that I'm just like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, right?
Yeah.
And then there are days where you feel like this is the best thing ever. And so it's a very dynamic ride, I should say. But I'm definitely enjoying it. I wouldn't rather be doing anything else for sure.
Not even veterinarian, not even that.
Nope.
No.
Not even a bit.
Yeah. Two things you said in there: podcasts and books, right? Any podcasts that you would recommend an entrepreneur listen to maybe get what you're getting out of that?
1000%. I am in the business of e-com, performance marketing. I didn't know anything about marketing before coming into this space. And so some of the really helpful ones are Smart Marketer. There is e-com playbooks. There is Limited Supply, which is a great one with Moise Ali. He sold his company, I believe, for like 130 million to P&G. And then for books, Mentored by Millionaires, one of my favorite books that I've read. And then also, let's see, Ready, Fire, Aim is another one. If you have a product idea and you want to kind of see what your challenges are going to be at each stage of the business, I thought that book was extremely helpful in anticipating what I would have to navigate as I grew the business.
Yeah. Feeding off of that, you mentioned 130 million that, the guy sold his business for. We're in 100 million deals, right? 150 million over 4 years is what Amazon committed in their Black Business Accelerator program. You're a part of that. What was that experience like? Has it helped Hairbrella grow?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Amazon is a huge organization to navigate as a seller. And so I believe that their commitment to be intentional about partnering with Black businesses, helping Black businesses to navigate and grow, understand what the opportunities are within Amazon, this program has really bridged that gap where we do have access to the resources necessary. We've grown probably another 75% just by kind of actioning on some of the activities that they have kind of put in place for myself and our team, and also what I kind of see for the future is them helping us to navigate selling overseas. So we've launched in Canada and the UK, and looking for more opportunities to do that. And again, having their support, kind of holding our hand as we navigate that is definitely a game changer. Doing it on your own is not easier and probably a lot slower. But they really are accelerating Black businesses. Yeah,
third-party sellers in Amazon. That's the way to go, right? Yeah. Discoverability though, is that an issue at all, or are you finding that your product is easy to find on Amazon and it's all good?
Yeah, I mean, the reason I got on Amazon is because I knew people would be searching for rain hats on Amazon, and that's the case for most consumer products. I mean, you're kind of hurting yourself not to be on Amazon so that people can understand who you are and they trust the platform. And so we were on Amazon for about 4 years before getting in the program. So we did own pretty much space we wanted to own in terms of rain hats, but then we expanded to other products. And so we needed to kind of create that same discoverability for our sun hats, for our beanies, for our sleep caps, for our shower caps, all these other hair coverings that we had developed. We wanted to be able to have those be discoverable as well. And so they've really supported us in expanding our portfolio there.
Yeah. Another accelerator program you're part of, the Endeavor Atlanta, right? That allowed you to get the partnership with Steve Madden. I know you're working on some unisex bucket hats. How's that process like? And when can we see that? Is it out already? How's that partnership with Steve Madden going?
Yeah, so that was launched last year. It was
Yeah.
a great. We had a great collaboration there. Yes, that they all sold out, by the way. So this is a
Oh
limited
man. See,
edition.
and that's the only thing I could
Sorry.
use was a bucket hat.
Yeah, but we do still have bucket hats. So the special edition version,
Yeah.
of course, the collab version is sold out, but we definitely still develop those. The number 4 selling product right now is the satin line waterproof bucket hats. We just also released the sun hats, beanies. We actually have a super exciting announcement coming out tomorrow about our sun hats.
Nice.
Someone really loves them, who we really admire. Hint, hint. So we are excited about expanding again to the most innovative and elevated versions of the hair coverings and head coverings that we use every day. Yeah, the bucket hats are definitely a winner, though.
Yeah. As we wrap up here, a
Yeah.
few more things. I'll let you go because again, you're a CEO. I don't like to keep CEOs too long, right? Maybe the COOs and the CFOs, but not the CEOs too long.
I
Still inside
appreciate
of the company in Hairbrella, what's been the biggest positive surprise that you found running a company, Hairbrella, even post-pandemic now, right? Because a lot of behavioral things
Yeah.
have changed post-pandemic. What's been the biggest positive
Yeah.
surprise coming out of the pandemic that you found about your consumer?
Yeah, I believe the pandemic actually taught us more about who our consumer was
Mm.
and could be. So it was that time that we discovered 25% of our customers were men. I had no idea.
Wow.
And then we discovered that a lot of women in the healthcare industry were using our caps and wanted us to develop. That's how the face shield happened. So they were like, we need something to cover our face, and wearing these head coverings all the time is like damaging to our hair, the traditional scrub caps, right? And so we started expanding our product line based on kind of crowdsourcing, based on their feedback, understanding what their needs are, where they felt like, the current things on the market didn't meet their needs. How can we basically reinvent, redesign them to be the best in class for those customers? So now we do sell scrub caps, and we're now getting opportunities in the B2B space to do uniforms, right? Also food service industry, the delivery service industry, if you think about mail carriers, et cetera. So I believe that's been the biggest thing I've learned about my consumers is, one, they'll tell us what they want, and we really can find new and exciting ways to serve them, even in the work setting, healthcare setting, which I never anticipated when I started Hairbrella.
Yeah. And listen, we all love positives, but on the other side is negatives, right? What's been the biggest
Yeah.
negative surprise that you found?
Oh man, and this is kind of personal. Like, this is the part that is the hardest is navigating relationships
Mm.
as you grow a business, and knowing that not everyone that may have started with you can continue with you or should continue with you. And so I am one that I absolutely love my people, and when I build a relationship, I never want to see it end. I never want to see anything that, like, feels like, oh man, now we don't get to kind of see this next chapter together. That's been the toughest part. But I have amazing mentors and folks that really do kind of help me to understand, like, these are some of the tough decisions you have to make. So that would be the toughest thing, that you gotta also develop and be okay with relationships that need to end as you kind of go from season to season in your business.
Yeah, yeah, that's going to set me up for my, final question in a minute, which is good to great. But another thing that's in the news is one of your investors, Fearless Fund, is in the middle of a lawsuit,
Yeah.
a big one, grant program that they're providing. People think that it violates a federal civil rights law. So, monitoring that as that goes along, it's in the national spotlight. You were at a town hall meeting in August supporting Fearless Funds, again, one of your investors. Anything concerning when you look at that overall thing? And I know it's so much to get into and it's still early, but when you look at it from the outside
Yeah.
looking in, anything concerning about what's happening?
Oh, it's extremely concerning. I mean, and never in a million years would I think that this would be what we are having to navigate. It's tough enough to gather the resources and really start to try and evoke some change for funding for Black women,
Yeah.
let alone being sued to do so. So it's alarming, to say the least. I think it is incredibly telling that at the point that we do start to make progress, we may think, oh, everybody is supportive of that. That's not the case. And so I do think we have a tall mountain to climb. I do think we have to be completely resolved that we're going to get through this, and we've got to be even smarter about how we navigate around some of these people and things that want to truly stop the economic freedom of Black women, and especially in the business sector. It's also telling, though, that we are starting to make some progress.
Absolutely.
Folks have decided to take out time of their, I'm sure, busy day to try and stop it. And so I am fully supportive of the Fearless Fund. I joke with Arian, I'm like, they chose the right one, because she is serious about her mission, has been a huge supporter. She's actually the reason we got the Steve Madden partnership to begin with. And she's truly changing the game. We would not be where we are without their support. And so I'm excited to, one, keep proving out the model that investing in Black women is an absolutely amazing business decision. It is the right thing to do, and that when we make that happen, there are positive outcomes, and then also at the same time supporting their efforts to fight anyone that would try and dismantle what it is that they've built, and really preserve the product that we've made for the next generation. I think is absolutely important. And really, aside from building businesses, like, I do believe this is going to be our generation's life work, and I'm excited to be in the fight with them.
Yeah. And again, as a CEO, you must pay attention to this. And last thing before I close out with good to great, geopolitics. You see what's going on around the world. Wars are going on. I don't know how much that impacts your business from a supply chain problem. What is your take on what's happening in the world and how you're dealing with that as a CEO? Interest rates are up, other economies going through it. I don't know what we're seeing as far as the China and U.S. relations. India is there, and Africa is like coming online, waiting. What are you looking at from a worldly macroeconomics perspective, and how is that affecting Hairbrella?
Yeah, I am really quite devastated at what is happening right now. Of course, coming out of the pandemic, of course, with my suppliers, we were affected greatly by that. And I was woken up to how relations in other countries can affect business.
Yes.
I actually just got back from China, first time in a couple years, to kind of sit down with my suppliers, understand how they're thinking, what they are kind of considering in terms of relations, and kind of best and worst case scenarios, and really trying to make sure that I am anticipating any disruption in those kind of key functions of our business. So we are looking at developing other sources for our suppliers, trying to find alternative, even considering bringing it back stateside, but then what the impact would be for our businesses, our customers, if we were to do that. And so
cost, supply, and those things.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm trying to stay ahead of it, but also trying to strengthen the relationship that I have with our partners in different countries, and understanding, like, all right, best case, here's my intention, here's where we can go, but also let's look at what the worst case could be and make sure that we're solving for that and anticipating that as much as possible. But yeah, it's one other thing I also say about this journey as an entrepreneur and a CEO, you come through a few things like the pandemic and you feel like, well, we always figure it out, right? So I brace myself, I try and plan as much as I can, but I also know there are going to be some things that I'm not going to be able to kind of solve for, but I am resolute in my ability to navigate it. And I'm just hoping to be able to support the people that are involved with Hairbrella and making sure that we make good on our promise to them as well as we navigate those challenges. Yeah,
I look at Instagram and all of the businesses that are out there, some great ideas, but I think I say these people ain't prepared, because they're looking at it from e-commerce, which is good, but there's a lot of stuff happening around the world that can impact this thing, and so, 1,000%, I'm glad you're paying attention to it. So I'm going to get you out of here on this, right? Hopefully something to make you feel good, because you're not in this industry anymore like that, even though it must be great to have to be an attorney, because you can basically represent your own company when you're doing the corporate law thing, right? But
I wish. I still have to. Yeah,
you still got to pay.
I do save myself a little bit. Absolutely,
absolutely. Get you out of here on this. Jim Collins wrote a great book. I love this book. I still read it. Good to great. And I will ask you, what's the difference between a good attorney and a great one? I caught you there.
You did. I have to go back in my arsenal here, thinking back to that time. So I would say a good attorney gets the job done and can, and I was in, contract law, IP law, right? They can get the job done. I think a great attorney can understand the true needs of their client and the business, and craft really creative contracts, solutions, even down to the relations between the two parties, right? To really effectuate the best outcome. And so some of my favorite lawyers and the ones that I learned from really were better at just being able to communicate and negotiate with a client than they were just getting the legal work done. They really knew how to build relationships and be able to navigate to where they get even better outcomes than their client anticipated from the beginning. So the creativity and relationship building, I think, takes it to another level.
Absolutely. It is such a privilege to be able to share this time with the CEO, especially one like of yourself, with all the caliber and the craft that you put into Hairbrella. I mean, keeping a promise to yourself, becoming an entrepreneur, going from lawyer, seeing different crafts, trying to be a bit emoji app, you know, going out there. I mean, I love listening to entrepreneur stories because they're motivating for me, and I hope they're motivating for the viewer. So, Tracey, thank you so much for the time. Look forward to seeing you at the BLK Summit, and this is a great way to end this series. And good luck to Hairbrella. I know now what is on my Christmas list. Some Hairbrella caps for my aunts.